What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to the Morning View, where we go through the latest rumours, the latest news, the latest goings on at Manchester United. Happy bank holiday here in the UK. Happy 1st of April. We're not going to play any April Fool's jokes on you, and it's not really in the mood.
I
really in the mood.
I hate that anyway. You know what I mean? The whole April Fool.
Yeah.
You know when you get someone tries a really rubbish one, call you up. I've won the lottery. You go, but you haven't.
No.
You haven't though, have you? You know what I mean?
No,
and some people take it really far. They'll go, something really bad's happened. And you go, really?
Yeah, no, you can't be doing that. Yeah,
they go, oh yeah, April Fool's. You go, well, come on.
Yeah.
let's be careful here.
Exactly. April Fools. Man United didn't really draw to Brentford. Yeah. In a case that's been heard by the FA and FIFA, they have reversed the decision to award United a point, and we now have 3 points instead of 1 against Brentford. That's the only April Fools I got on the spot. But smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Loads to talk about today. Ten Hag make or break week, because after that poor draw against Brentford, lucky draw actually, shouldn't even have got that. After that, Chelsea Thursday, Liverpool Sunday. I mean, in terms of not being able to lose much more ground, I don't think it comes much bigger than those 2 games and not being on the wrong end of 2 bad results, because that would literally be it. And Sancho price set as well. So Jim Ratcliffe / Ineos, according to reports, are talking about sort of no cut price Sancho deal. It's on our terms. We're not just going to let him go on the cheap just because there's a rift with Eric Ten Hag. We'd rather keep him. We'd rather bring him back and make him play rather than sell him for a cheap price to Borussia Dortmund. So we're going to talk about those reports as well. Who we got in the chat? Let us know where you're watching from. If it's your bank holiday, if you're here in the UK, if it's your bank holiday, if it's just a regular day for you, if you're around the way in the world, let us know. UV make or break week. Hey Owen, how are you? Says Chima.
Good.
Yeah, good. Friday, Owen top 5. Owen Monday. Friday.
Oh yeah.
So now you're going to be like,
so I was saying we were going to get Champions League. Hey, look.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say things. We'll see what happens. I've put my marker out there. If this was betting flex, maybe if I was to cash out right now, probably go down quite a bit, wouldn't it? They'd be saying, you'd be at the territory where you go, don't bother cashing out, just wait, see what happens. I'm in that territory now. Just see what happens.
You need a couple more results to swing back the other way, or just ride it out to the end.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Cashing out. Steffi says it's bank holiday in Germany. Didn't know that. So big up to everybody in Germany having their bank holiday as well. Good morning from the Netherlands. Is it bank holiday in the Netherlands as well? Let me know. And good morning, everyone from sunny South Wales. So it says Day as well. So big up to you. Right, let's get into the first sort of situation, Owen, because it's less about, the Mirror said this or the Telegraph said this. This is us saying this. Yeah, me and Owen. Let's have a discussion.
Yeah.
Because I'm still not, I know a lot of you saw the Flex's view yesterday. I'm still not good. No. I still feel really uneasy.
Look, be honest, Flex. I spoke to you late on Saturday, and it didn't help that the clocks changed, which made it even later. But I spoke to you late on Saturday, and you weren't happy. None of us were happy. We were all like, I can't believe. I mean, the title of Flex's view after the game is Flex Rant. You were not happy afterwards, were you, at all? Because of a culmination of things. It was the performance, then getting to a point where you look like you're going to shithouse a win. Can't even hold on to that for a couple of minutes.
That makes it worse.
There was just pure fury, isn't there? And this is the stat that's really getting people talking, isn't it? We can get it up on the screen right there, which is the most shots faced. It's these shots faced once again. And this is the most shots faced in the Premier League since January 1st. So the calendar year 2024, the same 2024, mind, that we're talking about how our form has actually been good. And technically it has. But when you see this in the Premier League, we are top. We are top of something, Flex. It's just a thing you don't want to be top of, which is the most shots faced in the Premier League since January 1st. Nearly 200, 197 shots. The teams below us there, West Ham, who interestingly enough, where are they? Like 7th in the league or something like that. But Brentford, who prior to playing us at the weekend had one of the worst sort of form records in Europe this year. I mean, they popped up on the screen during the game against us. I mean, when you're talking about like top 5 European leagues, I think they had like the worst run of form out of like anyone. Then you get into the teams that are possibly expected to get relegated this season: Luton, Sheffield United, Burnley, all facing less shots. And when it's Flex, when it's like 20 less shots, or in Burnley's case, over 20 less shots, then are they better defensively than us? I mean,
Well, according to Ten Hag,
it's
no,
odd.
because they concede more goals than us.
Well, so this is the quote here. So the quote here, when Ten Hag was asked after the game about the shots and if he's concerned by them, he said, and as you mentioned, quote, "As long as we get results, no. We lost many second balls, and then you have to defend the box. That's what we did quite well, and we had a great goalkeeper. We concede shots, but we don't concede many goals." So going back to the stat, Flex, and factoring in what he said, what do you make of that? Because there is a divide of people say that it's a nothing stat, but I push back on that and say that can't mean nothing. It can't.
It can't mean nothing. And like I said yesterday on my Flex's view, I'll say it again here live in case you missed it. That sounds like something I'm preparing basically for DR later when they come for me. That's honestly, it sounds like a deluded fan or a fan that's like, no, everything's fine. You don't worry about us. I do it all the time to the outsiders. When I get to DR later, and I've done it loads of times before, and they'll probably be watching this. I don't care. You know, when Robbie comes or AGT and they say, Abby's like, "Oh, you lot were awful. Look how many shots you faced." I go, "Mate, they're shooting from about 35 yards. How many are going in, mate?" Like, it's fine. It's the reason why our goal difference is 0 because we just don't score. So, you know, it just shows that we're quite efficient because like we face quite a lot of shots, but you know, we're still like 6th. So it's just to me, it's just sheer deflection because it's all good saying as long as we win games or as long as we get good results, but we're not as well.
No,
Like
and
we didn't.
Keeping.
The company you're keeping. They say you're only as good as the company you keep, and that's the problem. It's like it's not by accident that those teams down the bottom have faced loads of shots, and then their league position reflects that. Like, come on, you can't. And if we've got aspirations of being a serious team again, that can't happen. No serious team has stats like that.
Yeah,
like, and I'm not even a stats guy.
And that must be stressed. That must be stressed as well. It's not focused here on the screen right now. But if you were to scroll all the way up to sort of the fewest shots faced, it's the people you expect. It's Manchester City, it's Arsenal, it's Liverpool, because that's
where we want to be. I don't want to be in company with Luton, Sheffield United, and Burnley.
And also as well, it's not like I know sometimes in recent weeks it's been a case of like the stats come out after the game and it's like 20 shots faced. You go, oh, really? I didn't really see that. But like at the weekend, it was very evident watching the game that we were getting peppered and we were facing a lot of shots. And these weren't, and it
more
wasn't
than
like,
normal.
Yeah, and it wasn't like Andre Onana wasn't busy and they were all going over the bar. No, he had to make a lot of saves. Like they hit the post like 3 or 4 times. Like it was very evident. And these aren't new stats. Like these aren't new. This isn't a new phenomenon because as pointed out right there, this is since the beginning of the year, let alone all season. So it's been a case all season. I suppose the question is, Flex, though, do you feel like it's getting worse? Do you feel like in terms of, and maybe it's because of the media putting more spotlight on it, maybe it's always been like this all season, but do you feel like that sort of like every single game, 20, 25, in the case of the weekend, 30 shots, is it getting worse to that extent?
It's definitely intensifying in terms of the coverage of it, but the stats don't lie in terms of there's another stat of like facing over 16 shots per game, like for the season. We keep seeing it, so it's getting slightly worse, but it isn't something that's like only just come about, and that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. Like when we played Liverpool, they had obviously we played 120 minutes. It's a bit different, but you know they had 25 shots. We had 28. It's a common theme. If I go back one, right, it was the game before that. That was
Everton, wasn't it?
Everton. How many shots did they had? 23 shots. Yeah. We had 15. You know, and we beat them 2-0. But and at that time, in that game, I remember saying, "Yeah, well, you know, Everton were just shooting over the bar most of the time, and you know, they were just doing a madness."
But Everton can't score goals. Like they're known for
Everton can't score goals. City, we gave them 27 shots. We had 3. So like, it's not this is not, and that's just I've just gone back in the last 3 or 4 games. I could keep going. I think it's very worrying, and that's what made me. That's the real thing that rubbed me up the wrong way. Where I said Ten Hag's lost me, in terms of his way of thinking in that presser, and why you keep
well, it was
saying
this
that.
quote,
Because
wasn't it? It was that quote that's on the screen right there. It's that
yeah,
well, as long as they
not
don't score, and you go, well, that
as
can't
long
happen every game, no, and
it
they
can't
are.
happen every game, and you can't keep playing like that and expecting something different. And when I was watching some of the game back, I don't know why I even wanted to do it, but I just watched some bits back, and it's like the lack of sort of tactical awareness to change something structurally, instruction wise, like the way we was pressing, we were just all over the place. Like some people would go and press, some people would go and stay. You had our wingers pushing on to their like 3 centre halves, leaving the wing backs open, one ball out, continuous. Then they were just going long and making sure they win the first ball and getting the knockdowns, just like basic stuff. And I'm like, that has happened though quite a lot this season, where you're looking to the bench, you're looking for Eric to stem this bleed, to stem the flow of blood, and to sort of put a plug in it and say, right, no more. We're getting absolutely rich. You hope that it's a bad period of the game. You hope that this is tough. 'Cause that's how it started off. First 10 minutes were just wasn't great, but we was in control. The Brentford was just giving it back. Then we were like,
Yeah.
oh, last 10 minutes it's been them. We need to just ride this period out. Period never
Mm.
went away right to the end.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I recommend people to watch the full time view after the game on Saturday, because there is this, and I think lots of people sit on really different parts of this. Of there is a constant blame game going on, isn't there? And the question is like, who is to blame? Who's ultimately to blame for these kind of performances? And some people look at it, it's more on the manager, because they're like, yeah, but you can't set up a team like that. Yeah, I would totally agree. The players aren't good and the players are rubbish, and some of them can't do what he wants. Totally get it. But just even with sort of the best players, can you set a team up like that and be successful? Because you're going to concede so many chances in the game, and it's so open, and there's nothing in the midfield. And then you get other people that'll be like, no, the players are failing the manager, and they're not doing what he wants them to do. But then the counter argument to that is, but what does he want them to do? Because you can't really see it. And I think a game like Brentford is maybe the example of where people are a bit lost on Ten Hag in terms of they don't think he's the right guy, because they'll look at it and they'll say, that's the kind of game. I get it away from home. Teams do struggle. But even if so Ten Hag said afterwards, didn't he go, well, City struggled against Brentford away. But then you look back at that game and you do look at the statistics. You go, well, it's evident City dominated that game, though, and they got there in the end. If you look at the statistics from that game, and if you watch the game, forget the statistics actually, but if you watch the game at the weekend, that wasn't a game that Man United dominated. It wasn't a game that Man United were constantly knocking at the door, and it was just really tight. It was like, no, Brentford should have won comfortably that game
By a big margin.
Yeah, and I suppose the chat can let us know, like, where do you sit on that? Is it a case of these players can't do what the manager wants them to do, or is it a case of no, like the setup is wrong and no players would be able to do what this manager wants them to do in his head because it just won't work? And I think it's a difficult conversation, isn't it? It's a very difficult one.
Another one which we picked up on as well, which is that, and you said it to me the other day, and it got me thinking. Well, I think it was the night of the game or afterwards. It was quite late. When we got smashed there 4-0 last season, because someone just said it's the same players in the chat. You expect these players to listen. I've just pulled up the team. I just pulled up the team because Owen said to me, there's only 3 of them that were there last time. The team that played and got smashed 4-0 from Brentford was Ronaldo, not here anymore. Sancho, not here anymore. Fred, not here anymore. Ericsson, not basically
He didn't play.
Didn't play. Maguire, okay, half
came on.
in. De Gea, not there anymore. Luke Shaw,
didn't play.
Out, didn't play. Martinez came on. It's only Bruno and Dalot and Rashford who, like, there's only 3 that are the main guys. And okay, Martinez and Maguire came into it. So I'm not buying that. I'm not. Anthony Elanga on the bench, not there anymore. Donny van de Beek came off on the bench, not there anymore. Terrell Malacia hasn't played all season. He came on. Wan-Bissaka didn't play last year. Garnacho didn't play last year. McTominay came off the bench. He started. So there's a lot of players. There's almost a completely different team that played. And really, it should have been the same outcome. That should have been another 4-0. It should have
If
been.
it was the Brentford of last season, then it would have turned us over that much. I think it's a case of a bit like when we played Everton at Old Trafford, where the argument can be of, well, this team we're playing actually isn't very good, so that's why we get away with it. Really, if we'd have played a City or a
Which is why we lost
Liverpool or
3-1
an
to City.
Arsenal, like they'd have just ripped us apart in to that extent. And I think when I was listening to you after the game on Saturday too. Something you said really did resonate with me when you're saying, like, I'm angry at myself. I'm angry at myself, not for believing, because I never want to get to that point of, I don't believe, and I just go into every game going, we're going to lose. But I'm angry at myself because you then get into this territory where you are like going from game to game going, actually, like you do beat Liverpool and play really well in the FA Cup. And you go, right, yeah, maybe this team does have something. And yeah, then maybe this is a turning point. And then you do start to go, oh, maybe this is going to be, all right, we're going to kick on now. We've got players coming back. And then you see that and you go, we're doing fucking nothing. Like, we're doing nothing all season. This isn't happening. And then if we play Chelsea in the week and we do get a result, we'll go, oh, maybe we might get something. And maybe, I don't know, that's the nature of being a football fan. But at the same time,
it's too much of us.
You go, this is madness. It's every game. And then I think, like you said, the cherry on top of it, which makes it just even more frustrating, is the players, and the manager comes into this as well. They're all so weak that even if they're playing terribly and it's one of the worst performances of the season, they get given a golden ticket flex and go, here. You've played rubbish. Here's a win, though. Here's a win. You win this game 3-0. All you've got to do is hold on for, what was it, like 6 minutes, 5 minutes? Can't even do that. Couple minutes later, concede. And you just go like,
yeah. It's just, I'll tell you what, that's another
crazy.
thing.
It's crazy.
Daddy English just reminded me of it. It is crazy. Daddy English just reminded me of it as well. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, don't worry, international break broke the rhythm. We'll be okay. That pissed me off as well because, it just sounded like the art of deflection of like, yeah, because, they've all been out of their country. So, it takes time for them to get back to our patterns. And
even that was not really. Bruno came back early. Rashford, he only played like 15 minutes during it. Exactly. Like what we talking about?
It's not anything. Yeah,
I could give it for Garnacho. Garnacho looked lethargic. Like you go, that looked like he's played a lot of football. He looked lethargic. But everyone in that team, a lot of the players didn't even go out on international duty. Right? It's like, come on, what we tried it. And I think that is when also as well when people that are maybe a bit more negative on the manager, certainly on the players, when they hear those kind of excuses or those kind of responses of, wow, international rhythm, blah, 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 that is when you do the eye roll of, come on, what are we doing? Like, this is crazy. Or the whole, like, you look at that setup and totally agree. Some of the players are rubbish. They got to go. Can't set a team up like that. You cannot set a team up like that. You just cannot do it. And it's like, and you're allowed to look at the manager and go, like, mate, you can't do it. Like you're getting in the same way that you were gifted 3 points at the weekend. We have been gifted an opportunity to somehow, some way, end up in the Champions League again next season. An extra spot's opened up, right? And we find ourselves knocking at that door. And if you set up a team like that, you won't get it. You won't. And something's got to change. But at this phase in the season, April 1st, do we really think that the tactical setup is going to change? I don't think so.
It's not. WJ Barrett says that performance makes a chat. That performance was worse than last season. And he also says this was Brentford, man. We are finished. And WJ Barrett also says, let's all be honest, this manager is gone. Waffle FC. There's only so much, like, it's just the level of deflection. I know you can't go in the presser, and just cuss out all the players and like say they're crap and say,
he's never done that.
I get that, and I don't expect any manager to do that in public. But managers can be honest. Managers can also show players in presses if they're smart enough with their words. That I ain't afraid to sort of, put out there that I'm pissed with you lot. I ain't going to go after you individually. And look, he did say Brentford wanted it more than us and stuff like that. But
Yeah, and he did
he's
say we were
also trying
lucky.
to.
He said, "Well, we were
Yeah, and
lucky."
he said we were lucky and stuff like that, and said, you shouldn't throw it away if he did say things like that. But they do all get lost or go to the bottom of the pile when you say things like, well, I saw City struggle, or don't really matter about the shots. You lost, you lose it. It's like the classic, like, big up Marcel, whenever we say, like, he'll go on a tangent and say, like, some good things, and he'll just drop in that
Oh, mate,
that
I
one
spoke to
thing, and
him.
then we go, oh,
I spoke to him on Full-Time View. This is also again why I'd recommend to watch that show, because I spoke to him immediately because this guy was saying we're going to finish third, and then he said I didn't say that. He said it was mathematically possible. I said, once you start using the mathematically possible phrase, people realize you don't believe what you're saying. I can't remember what it was because it was late.
He did say we'll finish third. I'm sure he said that.
Well, he said I only said it because it was mathematically possible. Also, he said two things, and then immediately I went, "That's not true." And he went, "I retract it. I retract it straight away." He was trying. Oh, I was there. He said, "Oh, Dalot's not been very good this season." I went, "Yeah, he has." And he went, "I retract
no,
it."
he has.
He was, "I retract
straight
it."
away. Didn't even contest it.
Yeah, retract that one.
Yeah.
And he was saying that what Ten Hag is trying to do is he's trying to play extreme high pressing and an extreme low block. And I went, but Marcel,
Well, that's
then
not good, is it?
if you've got extremely high and extremely low, what's there left in the middle? Nothing. There's nothing. And that's the problem, isn't it? And when we go back to that stat earlier on about the shot space, that's why I question, is it getting worse? Because it does feel like every single week or every couple of weeks, like those gaps that we know are there and that we know are going to come, it just feels like they get bigger. It just feels like they get bigger, they get more exposed, or the shots, like for Brentford, you can't, I don't know, stats, what have you, people roll their eyes at, but when they're record-breaking stats, that's when you do have to sort of pay attention. Like Brentford, they broke their own records at the weekend, man. They broke their own records in terms of the most shots they've had in a Premier League game. The most shots they've had. That's crazy.
Ever.
There was one at one point, and I don't know what it ended up as, but it was touches inside the opposition box, wasn't it? Brentford had like 50 or 60. We had 11. And it's like, I know that the broadcaster might cherry pick the worst ones because you try and get the narrative.
Yeah,
but like I said, when it's record breaking, you can't ignore it. You cannot ignore that kind of stuff.
Or even if it's just significant in the game. Even if it was a few less than the record, but it's like we're just showing you that Man United are actually getting battered here. Because that's not an agenda. That's where, as Man United fans, we can't be like, oh, they just want to see us fail. No, like we were saying it during the stream. We all watched the game. We were all saying it during the game. We're going, hang on a minute. That 10-15-minute period that happened after our first 10-minute period of the first half, it's been all them ever since. And then before half time, then the chances that they're getting and they're missing, you're going, there should be 2-3 up here. We're so lucky. Half time, right? We've got to put that to bed now and just start again. And it's the same. And it's just the same, same. And then what does really, truly make it worse, it is true, is being able to jammy your way out of it by a really good goal by Mason Mount. And then you can't hold on. You haven't even got the minerals to say, you know what? We've scored this goal completely against the run of play. We've had 11 touches in their box. Now we've scored a goal. Make that, say, 15. We've had 15 touches in their box or whatever it is. Mason Mount's got his first goal for the club. Even for him, long injury layoff. We've had a massive celebration with him in front of the away fans, patting him on the head, hugging him. Let's just see it through for him and them away fans in that corner. We've only just finished celebrating with, and someone posted as well in defense as well of like the players don't care. They put up the celebration of like the players, and Rasmus was pure passion. It was pure relief because they played so crap and they do care. It's just not good enough. They're trying.
I also thought Flex, because, and this is what, and look, United says it here in the chat. Let's all back the team until the end of the season. One game, one less. Well, I think they mean one game later, and all the crying comes back. But this was the point that you were making, and I said earlier on too. Like, it makes it very difficult to do that because, and I genuinely think Ineos might be in the same boat as this, because after that Liverpool game at Old Trafford and the euphoria and the game, and that was like peak Man United, wasn't it, of coming back and a late winner and everyone going crazy, and it was great. there's no way Ineos didn't look at that, and with Sir Jim Ratcliffe being a Man United fan, being like, that's Man United, yes, and you get that feeling, you go, right, yes, okay, I got it. And then he must watch that game at the weekend and be like, this is not Man United. Well, what is this? So this is when we get back into the territory of they probably have an idea in their brain of what they probably want to do, but they're probably still going like week to week going, I don't know. Like it's constantly like up and down, up and down, up and down. And it's really difficult because they are the polar extremes of each other, aren't they? Of like, that's, for the game against Liverpool at Old Trafford, that's like, something that people will remember for a while, that game and, the moment and all that kind of stuff. But that Brentford is so far opposite of where we want to be and where we need to be. It's very difficult for them not to go, would another manager be doing this? Would other players be doing this? Right. Actually, once again, we've got our work cut out for us in the summer. Yeah. It's a slap back in the face, of reality, isn't it?
It's also how easy it is for other teams to do that to us. Like if you're Thomas Frank, so he's worked on his plans. He's 2 weeks, right? A few players away international as well, but he's had a couple of weeks, right? After they just come off a loss to Burnley, by the way. So away. So he's had a couple of weeks to look at it and say, what is the best way to get at this Man United team? And the way he's masterminded it without our coaching staff and manager having a reply is so frightening. It's so frightening. And it's borderline laughable. When, Thomas Frank saying, I just don't know how we didn't win the game. And I exchanged some messages with Ivan Toney after the game as well. Yeah. It started off because he posted the video of him twisting up Casemiro and Martinez. Yeah. And I just said, take that down now, bro, with the angry face. And he just put loads of laughing emojis and said, you, man, were very, very lucky. And I said, LOL. And I said, yeah, should have been another 4-0 game, to be honest with you. And he said, minimum should have been another 4-0 game. And you know what?
That's it. Don't want Man United to sign him anymore. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. That's what B Flex. You've ruined it. You've ruined it for everyone. Ivan Toney's not coming Man United anymore.
Yeah, but he didn't cuss us. But the thing is, that's the thing. He didn't even cuss us. He just said the same things that we're saying.
He's not lying.
We weren't like, oh, you cocky this or that. Nah, Ivan's just saying, you're lucky, mate. Yeah, we are. Or should have been 4-0. Yeah, minimum. Yeah. If you had your shooting boots on, do you know what I mean? Yeah. He would have scored a hat-trick. Yes,
he was offside by about, was it that much?
Oh, what finish that was as well, by the way. And Mbeumo only just come on, ball over top straight away. Like, it's just mad.
Well, you mentioned about setting up the team to play against United. It's very easy, isn't it? Basically, it's if you get your shape, defensive shape, bit of a low block, there is no way Manchester United can break that down, because what we will try to do to break it down is pass it sideways at the slowest pace you can possibly think of. Then two things will happen. We'll either try to put the ball through the eye of a needle, which we won't be able to do, and they'll get the ball, or we'll just give it away because we can't pass the ball. And then once they've got the ball, it's one long ball or maybe one or two passes, boom, boom, through on goal. And then it's one-on-one defending. It's your centre-back, so it was either Lindelof or Varane, one-on-one with an Ivan Toney. They take a shot. Onana, can you make a save? Is it going to go over the bar? What's going to happen? And then that's it. And it's that cycle. That's why they have like 30 shots, is because that happens every couple of minutes. We have 2 or 3 minutes of passing the ball. Here's the ball back. We know we're rubbish defending transition. We can't do it. So it gets into one-on-one defending, 2-on-2 defending. They have a shot. Sometimes it goes in. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes Onana has to make a save. Sometimes he doesn't. But it counts. That's a shot. Yeah. Every couple of minutes, bang, 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 bang. And then by the time it's 45 minutes, 60 minutes, that's when they can flash it up on the screen, because it's like a constant ticker. It's like boom, gun, again. It's constant. And look, shout out Andre Onana, because earlier on this season, terrible, making lots of mistakes, really struggling. Now he's our savior. Now he's our savior. I feel bad for him because he did everything he possibly could.
0 goal difference.
He did everything he possibly could to keep a clean sheet at the weekend. Everything. And we still concede late on. He couldn't do anything about the goal because guess what, Flex? It's another cutback. How many times have we conceded a cutback goal this season? Oh, my goodness me. That thing, I saw it on the match view afterwards. There was the big argument discussion in the studio of who was tracking, who wasn't tracking. Nobody was tracking. Nobody's ever tracking when it comes to a cutback. That's why they always go in, because they can cut that back and there can be 1 player, 2 players, 3 players. They're all waiting. They were all waiting for it. How many times has it happened this season? And that's when you get into, again, that discussion of people going, is it on the players to be thinking, to be paying attention, to be tracking their runners to make sure that doesn't happen? Or is it on the manager to be like, why does that keep happening? If that keeps happening, surely isn't it on you to fix it, to stop that happening? And it's both. It's both. It's not working. It's not.
Yeah. I will say this, with just under 1,000 people watching live, big up to everyone on this bank holiday morning. 132 likes. So again, let's go. Let's go to 250. I know you guys can do it. Slightly less watching this morning, but we can still get to 250. I believe in you for that. Aditya says Erik ten Hag actually doesn't think we played bad. He is okay with conceding shots as long as we press high and get chances to score. That's what we've been discussing, Aditya. We're waiting for United to win the Prem. Says Marcel said, aim for third, not we will get third. Okay. We can aim for first still if we want. Maybe we're going to get that back either.
He's going to be on the full view tonight. I'm sure he'll have a lot to say. I mean, he was waiting for it yesterday.
Yeah. Just the wrong day. Just doesn't.
So to peek behind the curtain, guys, whenever we do the full view, there's a group and we put a message in going, hey guys, full view later on today, or in this case, full view tomorrow, 6 p.m. Let us know if you're going to be there. And I get a message like 10 to 6, 5 to 6 yesterday. I'm watching the Liverpool. I'm watching the City Arsenal game. Owen, can you send me over the link, please? What are you talking? So I just sent him a screen grab. I sent him a screenshot that said of him responding to my message saying it was tomorrow. See, I've gone full view tomorrow, 6 p.m. He went, I'll be there. I sent him a message going, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be there a day early is what he meant.
I said, and he sent me a voice note like, when you kind of just go, well, I didn't even understand what he said. I'll see if I can find it.
Oh, Marcel's brilliant, man. He is brilliant. He just...
Yeah. Here we go. This is the voice note. This is what he said.
Owen, you're joking. Owen, you're joking. There's no way it's tomorrow. I remember that sitting here thinking this. I'm set up and ready, bro. Yeah, I was just gonna do that. I see tomorrow, mate.
What a guy! He's the best. National treasure, mate. I'm telling you, Marcel should be protected at all costs. National treasure. Even himself, he's like, see you tomorrow, mate.
You just go. He lost words towards the end. He went,
yeah, he did, because he just can't believe himself. He can't believe himself. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. I will say this before we move on from the game. There's a couple of things as well. Someone touched on it there in the chat as well, which was, of course, yes. Martinez obviously coming in, he just looks rusty as hell. He's been out a long time. He's had so many injuries. And when he did have to come on, and Casemiro, I was like, getting up to speed in this type of dual winning game. It's a bit, I'm not sure. He done that mad pass where I don't know what he was.
It did look like the intention was for him maybe to play
that game.
I think the ideal thing with Martinez would have been that we would be winning comfortably and then maybe you bring him on for sort of 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Not,
and now,
I mean, look, Flex, it happened again. Both our centre backs got injured.
I know. We forget that as well. Both of them. Yeah.
Again.
Lindelof, Hammy gone. Yeah. Varane done his ankle. It looked like he's definitely, surely they ain't going to be.
Well, it was weird. Apparently, he said to people leaving the stadium that he said, it's not too bad. But for Varane, that could mean anything.
Yeah.
That could mean anything.
And it can be precautionary, though, because they thought, you know what? Because you come off at half time, innit? It's like, we've got another game Thursday, big game. This game clearly is very difficult.
Liverpool
1-0. Harry's all right. He is all right. So let's just put him in. So, and then the Liverpool one. So hopefully that is precautionary. But Lindelof done his hammy. He ain't running that off. So I'm pretty sure he'll be out. Johnny Evans I haven't really heard anything on that. He's still out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. With that one. Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like Leacher now as well is going to have to.
He's going to have to be
get
more
going
involved.
quickly.
Yeah.
More involved, which again, you're not sure how that is. He's only just come back, so the rustiness is going to be there. And 2, obviously, he's back from a long injury, so you're worried about that too. So we need Varane to be somewhat fit, because if Varane's not fit and Lindelof's not fit and Evans isn't fit.
My hope is a bit like you were saying with Varane. Hopefully it might just be a case if they went, look, we just got bigger games coming up. Yeah. And at the time, because it was half time, they thought we can still get someone out. It's Brentford.
Yeah, which is true.
So,
it's the right way to think. It's the right way to think with someone like Varane.
Yeah.
Which is annoying. And secondly, just quickly on tactically of how Erik ten Hag, the setup, like, it was the same against Fulham. Like, he's leaving like Kobbie Mainoo out to dry, like with that. And not even just Kobbie Mainoo, it could be Casemiro. It doesn't matter who it is. We don't have prime Kante. I don't know if Eric's worked this out or seen that we don't have someone like Kante in our midfield. Or like Declan Rice, who can cover loads of ground where you can leave them just to say, listen, you marshal us. But even those guys can't manage gaps that big. But like one of Kobbie's attributes that he doesn't really have is like a great recovery pace, like to get about the pitch. Like, it's just not his game. That's why him as like a lone 6 for me. I don't really want to see him there, especially in this type of team where it's so open. Whoever plays as a lone 6 for us, you've got an impossible task. It's not compact enough. You haven't got fullbacks that are maybe there to cover in transition. You don't have a midfield that's close enough to you to be able to go, right, I'll just stay here, you lot go. It's too much. And for Eric not to see that, there was a couple of times, balls getting played in between our lines, and Kobbie's just out the game. And he looks like running through treacle, getting back. But it's just the gap's too big. And on top of that, that's not his, you know what I mean?
And even he's coming back from an illness, wasn't he, as well? So I'm sure that's another reason why he came off later on.
Yeah. Sanjit says, when Brentford scored, they didn't even celebrate. They grabbed the ball and went back to kick off to get a win. Yeah, because they probably just were so pissed off they couldn't even conceded. To that United team. Let's get on to Jadon Sancho and what Sir Jim and Ineos have reportedly said.
Yeah, so this comes from friend of the channel, Dharma Chef, speaking to Give Me Sport, saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will only allow Jadon Sancho to leave Manchester United if a bid meets Ineos demands, rather than accepting any offer due to the animosity between him and Erik ten Hag. The club are keen to recoup a significant sum of the £73 million he was signed for. So all of that talk, Flex, about it's going to be a lower price to selling Jadon Sancho. I mean, some reports have suggested that Dortmund were willing to pay only like 30 to 35 million. By all accounts, Ineos are like, no, we want to get it closer to that 73 number. Now, that might be what they want, but whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know.
Yeah, listen, again, you still have to do that business posturing of like not just rolling over and saying, yeah, we know it's a bad situation, so whatever you could spare us for that transfer. No, you still have to make it look like, and be in the ring for, no, it's on our terms. No, you still got to pay up.
Negotiate.
No.
Got to
you have to. If he just, obviously he's never going to get anything close to 70 odd million pounds, nowhere near. But Man United have to be seen to be in control somewhat of it, or they need to be seen to be like, well, you're not just going to come take our player. Remember even us trying to get him out of Dortmund and how Dortmund was. Jesus, obviously the first year we said no. Even in the second year, they were like, they were posting things. I remember posting Sancho in the kit, and
that was. I remember the first year, wasn't it? The first year is when there was that deadline that Edward went, it's not a deadline, which it's mad to even think back that far. And then they had arrived for like their preseason training, and the first thing they did was post a picture of Sancho, and they were like, I saw mind games. It was like, no, he's just not going. He's not going anywhere, and he didn't. I look at it a bit like similar to when Sir Jim Ratcliffe was talking a little bit about Greenwood, when he was saying like, we haven't made a decision on that and we'll reassess it and all that kind of stuff. And people said, it means he's going to come back. I just look at it as, we just said 2 seconds ago, it's negotiation. If Manchester United make it very evident that Jadon Sancho is definitely going this summer, 100%, we will accept all offers, then you're not going to get a lot of money for him, are you? You have to at least give the impression or the perception that, well, it depends on the offer. And if it's not a good offer, then we'll just keep him. We'll do something. We're not afraid to keep him and integrate him back into, even if they know it's impossible to do. It's just about trying to strengthen your hand as much as possible and trying to make as much money as you possibly can. We're going to take a loss on Jadon Sancho. We're not going to get 73 million or more for him. It's funny, isn't it, as well with Sancho, because it feels like whenever there's a bad day for Manchester United, Jadon Sancho has a good day at Borussia Dortmund. Because obviously they beat Bayern Munich, and it was weird because and maybe this is going to get me some flack, but you know when you see those clips of like, see, this is the Sancho we were missing out on at Manchester United. The clip generally doesn't go anywhere.
He won a corner, bro.
It doesn't go anywhere. You're going, I'm waiting for it to happen, and then nothing happens. You go,
he was twisting and turning against Kimmich, and you're like, okay, good feet. And then he kicked it off and went out for a corner. And
then you go,
but if you don't watch the whole game, though, you don't know the whole context.
That's what I mean. So you don't know. But it's like,
to prove
it's like well, that's the point you're picking. I don't know. Look, they beat Bayern Munich away. I think it's like the first time in something like 14 odd years. It's a really long time. So, and Jadon Sancho played in that team. And obviously, I'm sure Dortmund fans would want to keep him because they're doing a bit better than when he arrived. So, the problem is, it's the case of clearly, I don't think they can pay. I don't even know if they can pay 50 odd million for him. I mean, they're saying like 30, 35, maybe even 40. So I don't know. I still don't think is going to be a future of him at United. But what do you think, Flex, if it don't work out with Ten Hag?
What could he stay?
Yeah. Do you think then? Do you think Ineos then consider integrating him back in? But then that's too much happened, because that's kind of my thing. Is like too much has happened.
We always think, and this, because me and you spoke about this, and you was like, nah, it doesn't. It's just too much happened, etc. I see it a bit differently. I see it as like we're in a different uncharted territory, new waters. Like it's all new, especially if they did something as big. If they did something as big as get rid of the manager, Sancho can stay for me. He can. I honestly do. It's not impossible. And the reason why I don't think it's impossible is that the falling out that he had was with Ten Hag individually. He called him out, and obviously his coaching staff and stuff like that. And obviously he's going to have gripes with, other players getting picked ahead of him. Whatever discrepancies he feels that existed under that regime, he's going to feel that. And if Ten Hag, if Ineos think, you know what, that happened before we got there. We're going in a whole new direction. We'll sit and talk with Jadon. Let's just see what it's like. And they get good vibes from it, and they believe that there's a player there. They could say, how much is it going to cost to replace Jadon Sancho? Right, we might be able to get 40 million for him. We do actually like him as a player. It's a shame it hasn't worked out. But it's a new dawn. We didn't think we was going to sack Eric. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just saying, I don't think it's impossible. Some people think it's impossible. I don't think that's impossible.
I don't think it's impossible. Anything happened. If it was me, I would just be like, too much has happened. I just don't see the point. We have been surrounded and engulfed by drama, and needless bullshit at Manchester United for so long. And it would just be an extra news story to be dropping back in. I know that by the reports, he still has friends within the squad, but there still might be some that were like, nah, I didn't appreciate how that was handled. I myself have been criticized, and I remain professional. That's not what you did, in their opinion. So I would just be like, let's just cut ties, move on. I would welcome Ineos to be that kind of ruthless, even with like, if they got rid of the manager, they still were like, no, we don't want to have that kind of that rehash. Like you said, it's a fresh start. We're moving on, from it. I don't see the worth in doing that. And also, like, again, I do push back to the idea of like, he's been this revelation at Dortmund. Like some games he's done all right. Some games, I think that, do you know what, Flex? I don't think there's been a massive difference between his performance levels at Manchester United, like, at his best times, and what he's been doing with Dortmund recently. And again, it's because we have this weird thing as fans where if we don't see you every single week and we just see the highlights and we just see the comps on Twitter, we get this perception that they're doing amazingly and they're doing great. But if we see you every single week, we can push back on those comps and be like, naturally, no, they're bullshit. Because how often do we have games where, let's say, Marcus Rashford, right? Marcus Rashford will watch the game, we'll go, Rashford didn't play very well today. I don't know about that. Someone will then put a comp on social media of him doing those twists, those turns, passes into the box and go, he played really well. And you'll go, no, I watched that game. He didn't play very well. That comp's misleading. Well, if you haven't watched the game and you just see the comp, you've got no other point of reference. So you just go, oh, well, I guess he played well. Then I don't think there's been a massive difference, to be honest. And I think if he came back, I think the same discussions of, is he actually that good? Is he right for Manchester United? This, that, and the other. I think
and the Premier League. Is he right for the Premier League?
I just think Ineos just need to be ruthless with it, with that kind of stuff, and just be like, right, no, we're going a different direction. We're going someone else. Stop paying attention to the comps.
Yeah, I would support that decision. I've said that many times before. I just see it the same way how I'm like, Ineos can come in and do things that we might not think could have happened. Like they've showed us already, is the same way where I just don't think it's impossible. Big up to Chris. Chris says Flex is a simp. Flex. What does he say? Chris said you're such a simp, Flex. And Chris also says Flex is really disgusting at times. Owen, if you weren't on this channel, I'd never give you a penny. Simp's a bit strong, Chris, to be honest. I think watch your mouth a little bit, mate, or I'll just take you off as a mod. Watch your mouth. But no, everyone's Huh?
Chris and a mod.
Oh, sorry, it's as a member. Take your membership off you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Cool, we're a simp, mate. You know what I mean? No, but to be honest,
I think we can.
Oh yeah, no, you can't. But this is money. But to be honest, I'll like I said, I'm not saying bring him back. I'm saying I just don't think it's impossible that Ineos could decide to do that. But I hope they don't. So I hope that's been simply put for you, Chris, that I'm not saying I want him to come back. I'm saying Ineos, who is not me, and I don't make decisions, could actually do that. And there's nothing we could do about it.
Well, let's Flex. It goes both ways. Caleb says Owen has an agenda against Sancho. And man like Theo says the hatred for Sancho is mad funny. We want to get rid of our actual talent players. Crazy if we lose Sancho, Mason and Martial and keep Rashford, Garnacho and Højlund finished. See, man like Theo there, you lost me when you said Martial, right? You were doing okay, right? And this is what's crazy with all of this, isn't it? If heaven forbid you have an opinion that isn't great about a player, that means you've got an agenda, Flex. You hate them.
Oh, you had Donny van de Beek.
Yeah, exactly. You hate them. You hate them.
Yeah.
You hate them.
Yeah.
It's not an agenda if they agree with you, by the way, though. That's the important thing, too. Like, when I talk about Gareth Southgate and people go, yeah, Southgate's rubbish, that's not an agenda. I don't count. I don't count.
Even though I've told you you've got an agenda against Southgate.
If you disagree, that's when it turns into agenda territory. That's just an agenda. And it's a Flex, me and you, we agree quite often, but when we disagree, it's because you've got an agenda, mate. Not me. Yeah. Not me, it's you. You've got an agenda.
You're the one with it.
Yeah, you've got an agenda. That's the problem. That's it.
And I absolutely think Sancho should leave. I think it's a bigger problem with that just not suited to the Premier League.
Your Sancho agenda is insane.
You know what I mean?
It's absolutely insane. Can't believe you would say such a thing.
Well, it's just
disgrace.
It's just the way, yeah. Before we finish off though, 2 games. I mean, the thing is, right, the Chelsea game's not going to be like that because Chelsea aren't going to play with a back 5, go long every time, make it really physical, and also Chelsea are shit. But us going there, so the game will be more open, but the quality on display is going to be really, really mid.
Oh my goodness, Flex! I watched that game, really, Chelsea versus Burnley at the weekend, and Chelsea are rubbish. Like they are so bad, and I will still push back. As bad as Man United have been this season, and as rubbish as we've been this season, and we have been pretty bad at points. I will still push back to those people that are, and I've seen it, like that were still kind of like, no, Chelsea, they're further in their project than us. Chelsea are better than us. Chelsea are better run than us. You go, come on, have you seen them? They are, and maybe this one is an agenda, Flex, yeah, because I've been beating this Chelsea rubbish drum for a long time. Even in the summer when they were signing players, I was giving it, no, you can't. The way that they move is crazy. And then this week, or last week rather, it came out that their chairman is going to change every 5 years because every co-owner is going to get a go. Get a turn, Flex. It's going to get a turn. Every 5 years, have it. It's my turn now. My turn with the toy. You know,
Okay, so that
like it's that. Do you ever had that school where every week someone would have like a bear, like a teddy bear or something? It's their turn to take it home this week. Then you had to you had to write a diary about what you did in the week. That's what it's like at Chelsea. That's what it's like at Chelsea. It's my turn with the toy now, and I'm going to write my diary for 5 years. This is what I did with Chelsea for 5 years. Your turn. That's how they're running. And you watch them, and it was almost similar with United to an extent, that Burnley game, because if Burnley were good, Chelsea would have lost like 7-0. Because I'm not exaggerating. 5
and that's
minutes
with the
in,
penalty that they got given as well.
5 minutes in, Burnley could have been like 3-0 up. They had honestly so many chances. Petrovic was making a good save. Then Chelsea, they do get a penalty. They go down to 10 men, Burnley, and they still come back. But this is your point, I think, that you were making, is in the games against better teams this season, Chelsea have done okay. And
I was going to say, Owen, you say all of that stuff.
Sod law, you know, they'll
Are you confident going there and winning?
I have no idea I don't know what to expect anymore, Flex. I don't know. I don't know. I'll go into the game saying Man United could win, because I think if Man United play okay, that should be good enough to beat Chelsea, because they're not good. I mean, when they played at Old Trafford earlier on this season, it was kind of similar, wasn't it? Where it's like, oh, you know, they kind of they'll have chances. It'll be this. Yeah. We'll still concede probably 20 shots in that game. I'll be pretty confident in saying that, because we do it in every game. But I'll be pretty confident in that, because that's what happened earlier on the season as well. They created chances, but defensively they're worse than us. Honestly, they are so bad, so shocking. And I don't know. Look, it's going to be. It might be one of those games, Flex, where we come out of it and we just go like, there is such a lack of quality on the pitch at the moment. It might be one of those ones. But our record at the Bridge is rubbish as well.
That's what I mean. Recently, I mean, under Ollie, I think we had a couple of wins there. We had the one with Maguire where he scored the header. I fell over the seats that game, and the one where Pogba and that scored a header, and
the Martial header.
Rashford scored a free kick.
Which one was the Martial header? It was a Martial header as well.
Yeah, was that in the same game as the Pogba one?
It might be. It was a brilliant header as well. It was really good.
Yeah, the Pogba done, and he was just stuck on the floor like, and then Martial scored. Yeah, Martial scored.
But yeah, for the last like 20 years, our record is not good at Stamford Bridge at all. I remember one where did we go like 3-1 up, and I think they got it back to 3-3 under Fergie. It was never great. Yeah. But that it's not the same Chelsea anymore. So
no, and last year, you know, Anthony had a chance before halftime. His right foot didn't score. I think Sancho had a decent chance, didn't score. And we were like, I'll tell you what, mate, what's going on here? Like, we should have put these to bed. Then McTominay gave away an unlucky corner pen. And then, you know, Casemiro had to, you know.
It was one of Graham Potter's first games at Chelsea, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, it's just not good enough, mate. Not good enough. I don't know. So, yes, tune in to find out all the latest regarding the build up to that game, what sort of Man United we're going to be, because we just don't know, do we? Have no idea. It is the full view later on today, 6 p.m. Tune in for that. 6 p.m. today, Marcel, if you're watching today.
It'll be late.
April. Yeah, now it'll be late. It'll probably be late. Because I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about then as well. So, yes, we'll see you again later on. Thanks for watching. Where did we get to likes-wise? We got to 203,000 people watching. Should have still got 250, but it's fine. We will let you off. It's bank holiday and stuff. So, yeah, we'll let you off. Take care, guys. We'll see you again later on. Peace.